Hello everyone. I'm here to go over a really great tool that will complement our lightboard technology, the eGlass, so to speak. Now, I've been using eGlass in my Zoom classes, my office hours, and for recording videos. And what I've noticed is even though I really like the ability to use the whiteboard approach in teaching in Zoom with the eGlass, students are not really interacting with me. Basically, they're watching what I'm doing. Now, I could ask for feedback and I could have them comment on something that I've drawn on the eGlass, but they're not interacting. Well, that's about to change because Zoom has a new tool. It's not really new, it's just not that known. It's called the Annotate tool. So in this video, we're going to be looking at how we could integrate the eGlass software, which is called eGlass Fusion. We're going to be integrating it with Zoom. Now, in Zoom, we're going to have to use share screen and annotate. And with this, we're going to be able to have the students basically collaborate with the instructor. So let me get started here. Now, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to explain to something that when you start the eGlass with the eGlass Fusion, so the eGlass Fusion software is opened up. The eGlass unit is turned on. And when you start Zoom, you're going to have Zoom access the camera that comes with the eGlass Fusion software. So let's take a look. I'm going to go to Zoom right now. I'm in Zoom right now. And it's my screen is a little too low. Let me just move it down a little bit here so you can see. You can see now, you see the Zoom tools down here. When you click on the cameras that are available to you, you could see that when the eGlass is connected to the computer, the Zoom will identify the camera that comes with the eGlass, and that's called the eGlass App Cam. Now, this is important because this allows you to use the eGlass with Zoom, and you don't have to share any screens. You don't have to do anything. It's basically using its camera like any other webcam. Fine. Now, if we want students to interact with us, we're going to have to share a screen, because as soon as you share a screen, the students have a new tool open to it. So let me try that. I'm just going to share a screen. I'm going to click on, at the very bottom, I'm going to click on share screen, and let's go to my syllabus. I'm going to share. So this is what you see on my screen, but let's jump to what a student would see after I share a screen. So I'm going to jump to that right now. So now we're here in the student's perspective. Now I know this is a bit confusing because you see my name here twice. This is me as the host, and I've logged in on a separate computer, and this is me as the student. So this is what I see in terms of the shared screen from the host, me, the instructor. And as soon as the host shares a screen, the participant, or in this case the student, are going to see this little green bar up top with view options and a little down arrow. So there's two ways for the student to access annotation. One is to click on this little down arrow and click annotation. And by default, the student will be given a pen and they could start writing. Another way for the student to access the annotation, and this depends upon what version of Zoom they have. If you look at the bottom right hand corner of the screen, you see this little pen green icon. That's a shortcut. If you click on that, it brings up the annotation toolbar and the student is ready to write. And as soon as this comes up, they have a little pencil here, and if they just use their mouse, they can click and hold, left click and hold, and they can start drawing. And they have the control to clear it if they want to. They could change colors and they could do lots of things. So this is the way the student can access the drawing aspect so all of the participants, including the host, can see. Okay, so you saw what the students see, and you could see how once you share a screen, the students have that annotate option available to them. So let me give you a demonstration of, well, before I give you the demonstration, this is the trick we're going to do. Since we have the eGlass Fusion software running right now, what we're going to do to get access to the Annotate tool, we're going to use Share Screen, and the screen we're going to share is the screen that is showing the eGlass Fusion software. Take a look. So once I click on Share Screen, if the eGlass Fusion software is running, you're going to see another. So this is Zoom right here in the upper left-hand corner. What you see here is the same camera showing through the eGlass Fusion. Now, if I click here and click Share, from your point of view, nothing really has changed. But since I've shared a screen, all of my students or users on Zoom right now have access to the Annotate tool. So what we can do here is, let me give you an example. Let's say I draw some curves, and I'm not going to label them. So I'm going to draw here this curve, and then I'm going to use the red pen, that curve. Now, I could ask my students, okay, can anybody identify the demand curve? Now, if a student volunteers, they could use their Annotate to actually draw. So I've got a computer to my right that's being used as the student computer. And what they can do is they can go to the Annotate tool, and they can say, well, this is going to be the demand curve, professor. And I'm going to say, well, this is absolutely correct. And now I'm interacting with the student. And it goes beyond that, because on my end, let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see the tools here. If I click on this little green bar right here, let me just make it a little higher. If I click on this little green bar, I click on my Annotate tool, I have access to interact with their annotation. So, for example, what if I ask a student, okay, where's the average total cost curve? And what if a student writes, okay, I think I know, the average total cost is right here. And I say, well, close, it's not. And what I can do is I can go to the Select tool using my computer. I could grab this and I could move it to its proper position and say, that's exactly where you should have drawn it. So I'm interacting with what they've drawn. And I could continue with my my eGlass, and I could continue this lesson. And when I call on students, they can chime in and annotate. The other great thing too is if I hover my mouse cursor over what has been annotated on the screen, I know which student has drawn what, because you can see, now this is a bit confusing because I'm the student on the other end, and so that's what my name is showing up. But if I had a student named Jose, you would see Jose right when I hover over that. So I know who drew what. So I could have more than one student coming in, drawing with me. So this really changes things, because not only am I still maintaining eye contact with my students, drawing, illustrating, I can now bring students in and we can interact. This forces them to pay attention because they got to know what's up, and they may be called upon to add to what I put on there. So I really think that this is a great tool. Now, there are more capabilities of the Annotate tool in Zoom, and I'm going to have a separate video just on the Annotate tools, because you don't need to use the eGlass to really get some great use out of those Annotate tools. But the Annotate and eGlass really come together nicely, and now this really brings the students in, and they've got to pay attention, they've got to interact, and it just makes for a much more engaging situation. That's all for now.